And again, with political in this sense, we are not talking about who's in an elected office or any of those kinds of things, because I know quite often people shy away from politics. Sometimes here in the United States, politics can be an ugly word. When I mentioned politics in a room, people, oh, but what I found out in my leadership journey, that having some kind of political IQ, or being around people who can think in this way, is very advantageous, especially um, in the private sector, but also in the public sector or in NGOs. Because when you talk about the political frame, this is about where the power lies, and power being equated with particularly resources, has the ability to influence the delivery of resources. Conflict, the political frame focuses a lot on how we handle conflict. And this can be interpersonal conflict, because in the workplace, wherever there are two or more people gathered, there will be conflict, right? There will be people who just simply do not get along well. So the political frame emphasizes looking at conflict. And then coalitions are important in this kind of a political view. Coalitions, having understanding who your advocates are, who are the alliant people who are aligned with you. And so the political frame is about power, conflict, and coalitions among those who have vested interests to protect and want to advance within a context of scarce resources. So we say that politics is about who gets what, when, and how, right? That politics is really about how scarce resources, generally money, is divided up, because we know there's only a certain amount of money. There is a pot of money. So the political piece is about how do we divide up this pot of money? Who gets what? Political leaders believe that managers and leaders, we live in this world of conflict, and they accept that there will be conflict. So it's not about avoiding the conflict, but facing the conflict head on and dealing with it. Uh, Political leaders feel the central task of management is to really mobilize the resources needed to advocate and fight for the unit or the organization's goals and objectives. So again, if there are political people in the workplace, these are the people that, no matter what comes up, they may say, there's politics involved. Look, we're going to have to mobilize. We need to pull together on this. We really need to speak to, some particular person out there, or we really need the help and the aid of another organization to work together. So people with a political frame or political orientation emphasize the importance of building what we call a power base, allies, networks, and coalitions. So individuals who have a political frame focus, they want to be a part of external meetings that's going on. Here we have what we call city councils and county commissions and all of that. These are people, back to Henry's statement about, really putting the vision and mission out there. People with a political frame say that the best way to do that is to move out in the external environment and make sure everybody out there understands what we're trying to do. From a political perspective, a good leader is someone who advocates their department, that they are not afraid to speak up with, the people who are in control or who have the power. Political leaders, they feel also good negotiators, that they can go to the table and bargain and negotiate and say, no, this is what we need here. and a good leader, advocate, negotiator who understands the politics of the area and that they are comfortable with conflict. So these are the people that's ready to lead the demonstration and the march. These are the people that go to a meeting, and if they're with people that other folks may feel intimidated by, these are the people that will raise their hand and say, no, I respectfully disagree. Or what are we going to do in order to bring more resources to my area? So now you can see these three, how they work together. So we need the people who are structural to make sure that our policies and procedures are in place, that our organizational chart is clear, that people understand what they need to do. We need people, structural leaders are data focused, the data analysis. What does the data tell us? We need the human resource people who are thinking about the best way to recruit people. How do we hire the best people? How do we make sure that we're coaching them? And how do we make sure that we are allowing them to be heard and engaged in the workplace? So now, when there's a problem, we also need people that we can turn to who are thinking from this political perspective to say, maybe we need to focus more on how do we get more resources in. People are leaving, they're dissatisfied with the job. Maybe it's that we need to think about how do they get higher salaries? And if we can't get the money, how do we get other resources? How do we work with the right people out there? How do we build alliances and understand, how to work within the conflict that's going on?